Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Yeah! This is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with Journalistic Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? Journalistic.
Yeah, Joel is
journalist.
On the case. He is investigating Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yes.
From 2013. This one, 7 years after the beginning, and has nothing to do with that. So this is a different timeline. We're kind of resetting.
We're kind of going back to the original.
Yeah, we're going back to the original. Kind of.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We're supposed to be going back to the original. We'll put it that way for now. And it's not. It's called Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's no massacre in this one.
That's all it's called. So yeah, it's just in case you're getting confused. We're gonna get even more confusing in a few episodes with the titles. But so this is the seventh film?
It is, yes, the seventh movie in this 9-movie franchise.
Okay, awesome. All right, Joel, who do we got?
All right, so this one stars Alexandra Daddario. She was in Baywatch, the movie Baywatch, not the show. The Percy Jackson trilogy, the Percy Jackson movies. Hall Pass, and 4 episodes of True Detective. I thought she was in more than that, but it said 4 of them, so all right.
Okay.
Also, Scott Eastwood. He is Clint Eastwood's son.
Ooh.
He was in Fury, Snowden, and Pacific Rim Uprising. Okay. And so for this next one, I was going to do Trey Songz.
Yeah.
But he was literally only in this movie. So
he was probably in some music videos.
Oh, he was in a lot, yeah. When I looked up his filmography, he was in, it was quite a few titles, but they were all music videos. So I'm like, I'm just going to pass on him. But Trey Songz was in this movie. So
he was a decent R&B singer back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah. And he lasted, 2 years? Maybe?
He was featured on a lot of songs.
Yeah.
From what I remember from rappers who would, have him do the chorus or whatever. That's what I remember him most.
I think that's what I remember him. Yeah, from other people's songs.
Yeah.
Tanya Raymond. She was the other female in this movie. Okay. Other friend in this movie. She was in 19 episodes of Lost. Oh. She was in Deep Blue Sea 3. Oh. Because there has been a 2 for that movie.
Who knows?
And 31 episodes of Goliath, which I think is that Billy Bob Thornton Amazon show.
Okay.
This was written by Adam Marcus. He did the story and the screenplay. And he did Jason Goes to Hell. Oh. The best one in that series. Secret Santa and Conspiracy.
All right.
And Deborah Sullivan, she did the story and the screenplay. And she did Conspiracy and Secret Santa and a movie called Momentum.
All right.
And there's a couple more people on here, so bear with me on here.
That's always a good sign when you have like
when you've got like
5 writers.
Yeah, exactly. You got Kirsten Elms. She did the screenplay, and she wrote the TV movie Banshee, not the TV show. There's a show called Banshee, which was a good show, but this was not it.
Okay.
Exeter, and Hair of the Dog, which is a 2023 movie, not out yet.
Oh, wow.
And then we've got Steven Susko, who did the story.
Okay.
And he wrote The Grudge 1 and 2, Unfriended, Dark Web, and Hellfest.
Nice.
So he actually is giving me the most promise.
Yeah.
for this movie. And it was directed by John Lustenhop. It looks German. I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong.
Okay, yeah. Like, you just made that up.
Lustenhop. He directed Takers, Lockdown, and Tick, 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 the short.
Okay.
Only one of those I've actually heard of was Takers.
Okay.
But
is he the only director, or we got like 6 more?
Yeah, the only director.
Okay. All right.
We got like 16 writers, but one director.
All right. Perfect. All right. So, a young woman travels to Texas to collect an inheritance. Little does she know that an encounter with a chainsaw-wielding loon is part of the reward.
Does it say loon?
No, it says killer.
I wish it said loon.
We got to stick with loon.
Yeah, we do. But I actually want to know if it says that because it actually said that once. So I'm like, I want to see if it says it again.
So yeah, I'll let you know. I'm always going to call him a loon, but I'll let you know if it actually says that.
Okay.
All right. So I want to talk about the story on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do a little setup for it.
Our story. A story that...
Okay. Yeah. Let's start about our story. Let's talk about our story.
I thought you were going to talk about this story. I was like, okay, yeah.
We'll talk about both stories. So we'll talk about how we saw this movie and then the story of the movie.
Story of this one, yeah.
All right. So this 2013.
Yep.
I believe... Yeah, the radio station, the local radio station, 98 Rock, shout out. They used to send out like texts to people, like you could sign up to be part of the, whatever crew, and you could text to win this or that or whatever. And so I remember receiving a text to win tickets to Texas Chainsaw 3D, which is what it was called back then. Yeah. I think it's just called Texas Chainsaw at this point. But so it was a 3D film that was coming out, horror movie. And I actually won the tickets. But that's not all. What came with the tickets was really cool. So I got a shirt. I got a poster. I got a candle.
A Leatherface candle.
A Leatherface candle.
I don't even remember what that smelled like.
It smelled like nothing. Did we even
light it? Yeah.
I think we did, but it didn't smell like anything. There was no scent. It was just burning flesh.
I guess that's better than anything else. Yeah. The sense of nothing is better than what it could have been.
Yes. So there was that. And then there was a plastic Leatherface shot glass.
Yeah. I remember that.
So random.
It got used.
It did.
It definitely got used.
It got used. It kind of looked like Chef Boyardee, the picture.
Yeah.
I remember jokes about that numerous times. So, yeah, so that was pretty cool. And we saw the movie, had the 3D glasses and everything. And, you can tell when you watch it now what parts are meant to be 3D. I don't think it was so too over the top with that, like some other ones, but, you can see.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, there was only a few scenes that I remember, like, kind of laughing at myself this last time I watched it. Like, okay, that was definitely a 3D moment. Yeah. But yeah, it was one of those movies that wasn't too obvious, which is kind of a bummer when you're actually in the theaters watching it because
Right.
you're paying the extra like $3 for those glasses for the ticket. Like you want to be able to get, you want to be able to see the 3D stuff happen.
Yeah.
But if you're watching it at home, then I'm like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fine with
not too bad.
Yeah.
So just like a little side note, what would you say is the worst 3D movie that you've seen?
The worst one,
like as far as the usage of the 3D.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of right now.
I'm gonna say one. I don't know if you're gonna remember this one.
Wasn't My Soul to Take 3D?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. That was just a horrible movie in general, but
but how was that 3D? I remember coming out of that thinking what?
That was not 3D. Yeah, I think the best one was My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, My Soul to Take was we need to review that movie at some point because I just want to talk about that movie again.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was like there were scenes where like the grass was a little 3D or something like insignificant,
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was back around the same time. I think a little earlier than this film actually, but 3D.
I think in 2012, I think it was when it came out.
Yeah.
3D. Yeah, it was around that time for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad it kind of died down.
Yeah.
Well, not kind of. I'm glad it died down.
Completely.
There's no 3D movies anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so the story for this film, the whole setup here is, so this is supposed to take place after the first film.
Immediately.
Yes.
After the first film.
So immediately.
You gotta specify on that.
Yeah.
Because they don't, unless I missed it, they don't mention a year that this movie is supposed to take place.
No, they don't.
So
and I
that's
think,
important.
And they don't mention the year that the original took place either. Which I think is purposeful because the timeline is all jacked up with this movie.
It really is. I would assume it would be like 1974 because that's when the movie came out.
But they purposefully do not say that. They just say August 19th. They don't say anything about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I found to be really weird. So it's supposed to take place like literally like seconds or minutes after the first one. Mm-hmm. And it does a good job, I think, with looking like it does take place at that time. Mm-hmm. For the first opening scene. I thought it looked like very similar to the way the first one was filmed, the location, just all that looked really good. So the sheriff comes over to the Sawyer home, and he's saying like there's this girl who's talking about some chainsaw dude, and I know who she's talking about. You need to get Jed out here. And so he's yelling at the family. And playing the father of the Sawyer home. Do you know who that is?
That was that's the original Leatherface.
No. It's Chop Top.
Was it?
Yeah. It's oh my gosh, what's that guy's name?
I thought it was
who plays Chop Top.
I thought he was a character in the movie.
He was a character.
I know the actress who plays Sally comes back as Verna.
Yeah.
In this movie. Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's cool that she came back for it, but it's not cool that it was in this movie.
Bill Moseley, that's his name. He plays Drayton Sawyer. And I mean, I don't know the relation, but he's yelling out, like he's the one talking to the sheriff.
Yeah.
As like the patriarch, that's at least the way I took it, was that Jed was his son.
Gunnar Hansen was Boss Sawyer.
Yes. Yeah. So he's in that scene too.
Yeah.
And that's what's weird about that scene is there's all these other family members that are there that weren't there before. So I don't know where they were like just minutes prior in the original film. Because there's like 4 or 5 dudes in this house that were not a part of the, the scene that supposedly happened right before this.
Mhm.
So I thought that was weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. For sure.
And so Jed, there. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I like how they how it picks up immediately after the first movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely some continuity issues with this movie.
Yeah.
Starting with the first 5 minutes of this movie. That's not a good start, guys.
Yeah, I don't know where these people came from. But so the sheriff's trying to get Jed out, which is Jed is Leatherface. And but then these like locals drive up and they're all rednecks and hillbillies and they're all yelling, saying, you know, we need to take justice into our own hands, basically. And the sheriff's saying, oh, he's going to bring Jed out. And they're like, we don't care. They need to all die. And so then this whole shootout happens. The sheriff is not wanting this to happen. Sheriff just wants to take Jed. And but this whole shootout happens with basically the town that came to the Sawyer home and kills everybody. But then there's this woman and she has a baby and she's still alive. The baby's still alive. Well, she just gets killed and the baby gets taken. Okay.
Well, you don't see her die.
You don't see her die. No.
You see her. She's you assume that she's dying, like she's, but you don't actually see her die.
Yeah.
Which I feel is also kind of something that they did on purpose. To make as much sense as it could possibly make sense, because she could have lived through that moment, and she could have lived until, you know, we come to quote unquote today or whatever. I don't know, like where timeline wise is supposed to take place as far as like what year it's supposed to be.
So that's the issue. That's the issue with this movie, because now the baby is taken and raised, you know, through these hillbillies. And then we go to current day. Okay. And I know it's current day because of a couple of things that happens. So we go to current day, which is 2013. Okay. Yeah. The original film was 1974. The actual stuff happened in 1973.
Yeah.
So we're in 2013 now, 40 years later. Okay.
And she's 25.
And she is 25 at the oldest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so the whole time we're watching the movie, I'm thinking to myself, okay, did I miss something? Is she, because she's supposed to be that baby, but how? So then I'm thinking, okay, this must take place in the 90s, this movie, which, that makes sense. Cool. It's kind of a weird thing to put out in 2013, but whatever. So then, you know, she basically discovers that she gets the keys to this mansion. So then that's how she finds out that her parents aren't her real parents and blah, blah, blah. So she's going to Texas to check out this home. Brings her friends. Her friend, or her boyfriend, I guess, the car that they drive looks like a 90s van. So I'm like, okay, this takes place in the 90s. So it's kind of answering my question. Then they get to the home, and the like lawyer, the guy who's going to bring the keys, he pulls up in like a 2010 Chrysler. I'm like, oh my gosh, you just ruined it. You ruined the whole timeline here. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm like, the whole movie, I'm thinking, wait, was that like, is she another generation? Was that baby her mom? And then now she's, you know, that baby's baby?
That you'd have to go into the future for that.
So I'm trying to make sense of the like generations.
It's not that long ago that 1974 was.
Trying to make sense of the generations, and it's not adding up.
No, it's not.
And it doesn't, because there's another scene where a cop is like going through the house with a cell phone and a flashlight on a cell phone. And he's like live videoing and everything. So, but you didn't need to do those things.
Yeah.
Because there's not much else in this movie that really gives away the year that it takes place. The way that they're dressed, the way that they, you know, some of the building, like it's in an old Texas town. So You don't need, you just change some of the cars and have that cop have an actual flashlight.
Yeah.
And you answer all the questions. You make sense of it. Or just put a date in there too. Just like, 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
1993 or 4
yeah, you
or
could have just said 20 years later. You didn't even have to use like an actual year on that either. Like it's it's weird how they it felt like it had to have been purposeful, because they had to have known you have to know the story, like before you hire your actors.
Yeah.
You have to know the story that you're telling. There has to be a script. Like, how does that make any sense?
It is the biggest mistake.
It has to be purposeful. It really does. Like,
but why?
I have no idea why, but it just has to be, because that's such a glaringly obvious thing.
Yeah. I wonder
in this story
if this director or the writers have ever been questioned about this and what their answer is.
Oh, I'm sure they have been.
I'm sure they have been questioned. I want to know what their answer is.
I do too.
This makes zero sense. It's not complicated. And they either should have set this in the 90s or should have gotten a 40-year-old actress to play this
exactly.
role.
Get a 40-year-old actress if this is the story you're wanting to tell.
Yeah.
Like...
I'm like,
or if you want to have a young cast, have it take place in the 90s. It's not, it's, like you were saying, it's a rundown old town. Like, it wouldn't be hard to kind of place everything in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's pretty
it's
crazy.
So bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It is probably the worst mistake or plot hole that we have reviewed. In my opinion,
it's
so glaring.
It's such
right
an obvious thing.
Yeah, did
we even catch that when we saw it in theaters? I don't think we did.
I don't know. We had the plastic Leatherface shot glass. So.
Yeah.
And
we were just there for the core. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, I wasn't very critical back in 2013.
No, we didn't have a podcast.
So I don't know. I don't remember if I really caught it or even cared enough to pay attention to that. But watching it now, I'm like, and I like the whole movie. I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I actually looked up like on Wikipedia for the plot, and I'm like, did I miss something? Because this is really irritating.
Yeah, I thought for sure like I missed a year at some point. Like that, there has to be something telling us what year it is. Like this is because there's no way from 1974 to 2013 she looks like she is the baby from 1974. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
she was like 20 years from being alive at that point.
And so what I'm wondering if they were, because they didn't say, they just said August 19th was the date that all that went down. They didn't say a year. So I wonder if they were trying to turn that 1973 date into like a 1993 date. Like if that's why they didn't give the date. Because they're trying to say like, oh, we didn't actually say when that took place. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't mean it takes place in 73.
Yeah.
But that's when that movie takes place. So
yeah,
so
exactly.
No, you can't just do that.
And then we're going to have a fun one to talk about next too, because this is the prequel to the original movie, which is connected to this movie. So timelines are all over the place in these. Yeah. But so time. Yeah, it's something that should have been such an easy fix. Yeah. Like it's not hard to do.
No,
it's really not. Either get a different actress to play it. You want a young cast, fine. Make the 2013 take place in the 90s. Like that's the easiest so fix. Easy. Yeah.
And they like had it going for a while, like 20 minutes. I was convinced. Okay, this is in the 90s. And then that car pulls up. I'm like, oh my gosh. But there's not much else in the movie other than the cell phone with the cop and, maybe a couple things that, I just kind of gave up on looking for. But, it could have easily been changed to just be in the 90s. So we haven't even really gotten into the substance of this film.
No, we haven't.
We're just talking about timeline and...
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing of this movie is the timeline.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you write that. You have multiple writers as we went through.
There's 4 people attached to this thing.
So you got 4 writers.
Not one of you guys saw this?
You got a director, editor, you got the producers, the studio.
Yeah.
How do you put this out? And just, do you expect, it's like insulting. It's like they think horror fans aren't going to care. We'll just put this out and nobody's going to question it and we'll make some money. And if they do, it's not a big deal to them because they're just horror fans. Nobody really cares about the actual substance of the movie.
Yeah.
Which might be true back in 2013. I don't know if I cared. So
I don't think we saw the original, so the date didn't really matter to us.
That's a good excuse. I'm gonna go with that. That is a good excuse.
It could have happened in the 90s. You don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Never know. I mean, this particular event could happen in the 90s.
Yeah, there was no date. So
yeah, exactly. We don't know.
There you go. Yeah, thanks, Joel. I feel better now. I feel better about myself. Okay, so the other part of this movie that is different is, in previous films, you had Leatherface, but you also had the family, and they were kind of like a package deal with being villains. In this one, he doesn't have a family. He's kind of like in this wine cellar. And the villains is really the town, the mayor and the people, his family and, some of the cops and stuff.
Well, his family can't be the villains because they're all dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all got wiped out in 1974.
Yeah. So Leatherface is almost kind of like a good guy in this one. You kind of root for him a little bit. He's like the anti-hero, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because the mayor and all those people are jerks. You don't like those guys. they're out there.
Kill those guys.
Yeah, they're out there trying to hunt Leatherface and the main actress. They're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So, and you find out that obviously the main actress, she's related to Leatherface. They're cousins. Mm-hmm. And do you know the famous line from this movie?
The famous line?
Well, I don't know if it's famous. Maybe infamous line from this movie. It's so corny. It's so bad.
Is it when she is about to get killed by him and says, "Oh, we're cousins" or whatever?
She says something about being cousins.
Yeah.
To Leatherface. Mm-hmm. And okay, I'm going to kind of set it up. So she has the chainsaw. Yeah. And she throws it over to him, to Leatherface, and says something.
I don't remember what
you don't remember?
Said.
Okay, it's so corny.
I don't.
So, there's I think it's the mayor, probably, because this is toward the end of the movie, and it's the final battle. And she throws the chainsaw, and she's like, "Do your thing, cuz."
Oh.
So bad.
Oh, man.
So ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Wow. I remember it. Since you said that, but it was a quote that I just erased from my memory. I've seen this movie 2, maybe 3 times, and the last time was a few days ago.
Yeah.
In preparation of this, so this is one that I've seen probably. Well, of the 4 after, or I guess. Well, yeah, 4. This is probably the one I've watched the least amount.
Yeah.
From the remake through, I guess, Leatherface.
Yeah. So, So when did you think of kind of the way it flipped the story to where Leatherface is kind of like a good guy almost? What did you think of that?
So,
I mean, or did you get that impression? Because that's kind of how I took it. But
well, I mean, I did and I didn't at the same time, because it's like he is a part of that psychopathic family.
Yeah.
And he did kill people.
Yeah.
So it is, as far as the town going after him, I can totally see something like that happening in like a small town kind of thing. Where I don't know if I would necessarily be against the town people, because he is a murderer.
Sure.
He has definitely killed people. What I liked about that whole thing was the fact that he was finally by himself.
Yeah.
We don't get a whole family thing
right
with him. Which what I was talking about with previous movies is that Leatherface has always seemed like he's just there, kind of in the background. Like he's not ever the scariest person. When you take out the scariest people, you're left with a chainsaw wielding psychopath. Like he becomes a scary character. And he was definitely a scary character in the remake and reboot compared to this one. He wasn't really like that intimidating of a character in this movie. But I still do like the fact that we get him by himself in this movie. I don't like the family aspect of it. I don't like. It's interesting because it's new. It's something that we haven't really dealt with before. Having, seeing it from the eyes of someone who is part of the family,
right? But
also wasn't raised in that family. It's kind of like a Halloween 2 type of situation,
right?
Rob Zombie Halloween, where. I mean, she doesn't go as psychotic as Laurie did in that, but I mean, give her some time, and I could definitely see her becoming the next Leatherface.
Yeah, well, she kind of embraces it.
Yeah, she does.
There. She's like, "All right, cool. I got this nice house. I just got to take care of this crazy guy in the cellar, and we're good to go." You know, like she doesn't like turn him in or. She's just like, all right, go back to your little
he's family.
room.
You can't turn in family.
Yeah. Go back to your room.
No matter how many people they've killed.
Just give me your chainsaw. You don't get your chainsaw, but you can live here.
Yeah, exactly. Take away your weapons.
These are on timeout for now.
For the rest of your life. I don't need to be looking over my shoulder.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see them as the bad guys per se.
Even after, like at the beginning, I understood it, but after when you see how he's treating her, the mayor, and kind of how they're like conniving, and then I kind of saw them as like jerks, and they were just. I don't know. I kind of saw Leatherface. I was rooting for him because I didn't like those guys. Yeah. And then you want the main character, I guess, to live too. So, and then she's part of the family. So it's like, okay, am I rooting for the family now? So I kind of was not knowing kind of where I landed there. I thought it was interesting, though. I thought at least they did something different. It was interesting. So I'll give it credit for that. Doing something different.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it credit for that too. Like, I don't necessarily like the whole cousin angle, but it is different. It is something that we haven't seen before, and the whole flipping it on us, where it really is the townspeople that you want to see get killed.
Yeah,
like that doesn't necessarily mean that they were just like evil people, but you just. Like Leatherface a little bit more than these people do. Right. Than these people, and so you want him to take out these people. Yeah. But yeah, so it has its ups and downs. I guess.
Yeah.
This movie for sure.
I did find it entertaining.
Mhm.
But I just can't forgive the big plot hole there.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that plot hole kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to know. You have to. You've got 4 people writing this thing. You have to know what you're doing.
That's the problem. You have 4 people writing this thing.
But they all have to look at the script at the end of it and be like, okay, well, yeah, that all makes sense. That all adds up. This person's 25 after 1974. Yeah. That's perfect. Let's get the casting director out here. Let's get those early 20-year-olds. Like, what?
Just get some auditions going. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is a hitchhiker in this, which is pretty random. I don't know if they were trying to pay homage to the original with them picking up a hitchhiker.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta pick up a hitchhiker. Yeah. Like, that's just, something that you have to do in these movies.
they leave him at this like giant house. They don't even know him. He
by himself. Yeah.
Decides to rob the place, and then he gets killed by Leatherface. It's like, what was the point?
Is it really robbing if they didn't even know the stuff was there in the first place? Like, like she just moved in. Yeah, like, let's calm down with the whole robbing thing, because.
But isn't that stuff hers? Like, technically?
I mean, technically, yeah, I guess. Yeah. But she didn't know that stuff even existed. So
it's true. It's true.
What's it to her?
Technically, it is robbing, but
she just
in actuality,
in the most basic sense of the word.
Yeah. But
she just inherited a mansion. I don't really think she cares that much.
Yeah, he was taking like bowls and like silverware. Yeah, and it was like, what is happening here?
Yeah. Make a lot of money with that in 2013.
Yeah, and then Leatherface just carves him up, and then he's done. Like, I don't know. It was a really random.
It was just a
plot there that they threw in.
Yeah, it really was. It was just to basically add another, add to the kill count.
Yeah, and to say, oh look, we had a hitchhiker. Ho, ho.
Yeah,
just like the first one. Like, okay, you're not forgiven.
Yeah, no,
all your other crap that you do
at all.
All right, but it's entertaining. Mm-hmm. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
It's fun to watch. It's just, and I did like Leatherface's mask. In this, I thought it looked cool. This is actually the mask that I own, which is weird because I was looking at Trick or Treat Studios, where I get most of my masks from, and I was looking through them, and I'm like, the one I envisioned in my mind, I was looking through them, and I'm like, no, I don't want that one. Don't want that one. And then I was like, oh yeah, I want that one. That's the one I envisioned. And then I saw that it's from Texas Chainsaw 3D. I'm like, what? I didn't think that was the one I liked, but apparently it is. So.
Hey, it's the most recent one we saw in theaters, right?
Yeah, at that time when I had bought it. So I guess, I don't know. So yeah, I like the mask. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've tore this apart enough.
Yeah. But we really only tore apart like one thing. It was just like the timeline thing was all off, but
yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for the timeline, it would be getting a much higher score from me.
Yeah, it's an entertaining movie for sure.
Yeah. All right, you ready to rate it?
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, so what do you got for your rating?
All right, so I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one a 78.
Okay.
It's passable. It's one that I can definitely throw on and let's like watch every once in a while. Okay. But it's definitely not one of the best.
All right. So I'm going 64.
Oh wow. Okay.
I like the movie, but I just can't forgive the stupidity.
Yeah.
It's insulting. I feel attacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. as we all should.
Yeah.
We were all personally attacked by that.
Yeah.
A script has to go through a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a casting director has to have, like, at least glanced over the script.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, well, these people are way too young to be in this movie.
Yeah, but they need those hot young actors and actresses.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but, make it in the 90s then.
Yeah.
Like, give us a year. Give us something.
Yeah.
Don't screw up
Don't
by
treat
giving
us
us
this
2010 cars. And
They just treated us horribly.
they did. Yeah, they don't even care. It was a paycheck for these people.
God,
Their heart and soul wasn't in it.
I feel used. All right. Well, that is it. We're going to be doing Leatherface next. Not Texas Chainsaw 3. There's another film called Leatherface.
Just Leatherface.
It's just called Leatherface, and it's from 2017. So look out for that one coming up next.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this has been our review on Texas Chainsaw from 2013, and this has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Trace off a spite.